I don't see any lights. Does Councilman Rapson have any comments or questions? Because
Yeah, Tom, I don't have any questions. I think there's been good questions. Can you guys hear me now?
yes.
Okay. I have a couple comments. What occurs to me is this private business, do businesses to come to a meeting of the minds. And I think Mr. Kemper's comments were exactly right. This has been closed for 12 years. That's probably the biggest single thing I've heard for years is what is the city going to do about the Mesquite Stars? The worst signal we can send to the traveling community and visitors that we have these businesses closing, including the Oasis. Here's the solution. As Mr. Kemper said, there's a huge tax benefit to the city, employment benefit, circulation, payroll. We've got a banner on our webpage, Mesquite means business, and now we have people that want to say Mesquite means business, but only what I want. What is, in my mind's eye, the perfect business for that part. Well, it's on the corner, they're not going to put me any money. So to me, it's business. You mean business or you don't mean business. And to say no to business at some point is going to say no to all business. Or you send it to a shrimp farm that's doing well in another community. Exit 118 is 10, 5 years down the road. Nobody, that's the roundabout, that exit terrible. I just had a driver going the wrong way on the roundabout this morning as I was making my dump out. Jobs. I think we can't have it both ways. We can't say we're for business, one responsible growth, but then turn away for business right. So that's the comment.
Councilman Gus Davidson?
And if I may,
Sorry, go ahead, Councilman.
in a final statement, and Mr. Carrier said it, well, we've already got a truck stop on the other side. And I think the Flying J is no offense if any of the blacks are in there, but it's a much better facility. This is a travel center. This is where truckers go. And it's a national network. So I think there's going to be a huge decrease in traffic at the Rebel station over there beyond the Virgin, or across the Virgin River. And it's just transferring traffic from one side of the freeway to the other. We've got a truck stop in the entry of Mesquite today. This is just relocating in a sense. Maybe they'll do something with the back of their property if there's no trucks there. That's my thought.
You done, Councilman? Councilman Rapson, are you good?
Right.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Gus Davidson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to preface about what I'm about to say by saying that, first of all, that I have great respect for Pilot and all their subsidiaries. I don't doubt at all that their intentions are very good and they would be a great company. However, after all of the comments that have been made, and one of them keeps coming back to me, it's forever. What we do on this is forever. And, you know, we have zoning and master plans are for a reason. They're so a city develops the way you want it to develop. And that's why we have places already picked out for truck stops. Because we know how we want the city to develop. We don't want it, you know, we didn't want truck stops all over. We have a specific place. It's not that far out of town. It's at the end of, basically at the end of the road that goes out on West Pioneer. I mean, it's virtually in town. So that's a great location. But aside from that, if you read what staff had to say, they asked us to look at, they didn't give us any recommendations, but they gave us a number of things to look and consider. And each one of those things, as I looked and considered them, told me that this is not going to work. You know, I lived here since '97 myself. I have to tell you that the traffic, I don't, you know, no disrespect to traffic engineers, but the 6 years or 5.5 years I've been on city council, I've seen lots and lots of, you know, traffic reports that turn out to be virtually a joke. And I think there's just too many things that can't be taken into account. So I don't take much creed in the fact that they're Cs or they're Bs, because I know better than that. I know there's times right now that the traffic is brutal coming up through that. It's the busiest spot in the whole town. And they're not, the times that you see that, we're not a B or a C. So, so I don't think that the traffic issue is something that's going to go away, and I think the exposure to our kids is important to me. And we got not only high school kids, but we have elementary kids that come the other direction, that cross over from the elementary school. That hasn't been brought up. There's a lot of things that haven't been brought up, but I don't, you know, the stacking, I think that my councilman friend down here came up with exactly one of the issues I really have, because I looked at the same thing. 3 or 4 cars and you're done. So as you come out of there and the light changes and you get 2 or 3 trucks out of there, and they're going to come out because they've got to come out while that light, there's going to be no place for them to stack. The other issue is that it was brought up, and I brought it up when I spoke with your attorney, is that one of my main concerns is that the overpass. Nobody's really talked too much about the overpass, but we have to cross underneath the overpass from both directions, the trucks coming. And that overpass is extremely narrow. And I think everybody in this audience out there has had the experience of having either a great big SUV or a big or a semi or a big motorhome or whatever side by side with you, and it looks like you're going to have the handles on your door torn off because there's no room. I mean, it's extremely narrow. And the question was asked, well, can NDOT fix that? Yeah, I think NDOT can, but you know, I think that when we're talking about this 5 years, I keep hearing about this 5-year stuff, you know. There's nobody that said it'd be 5 years. Matter of fact, when NDOT was here and they met with us, they didn't talk about 5 years. They talked about accelerating it and trying to move us up to the front of it. So it's my feeling if this council, this mayor, and our economic people want to push that ahead, we can push it ahead if we can find somebody that wants to build out there. And I don't think it's going to take 5 years. I think that's a statement that's just simply can't be proven to be true or untrue. But you know, we don't know, because you know what? I didn't even know about this thing until 2 weeks before it happened. Supposedly this has been in negotiations for a year, and I've been on the city council now for 5.5 years. And I heard about this 2 weeks ago. I don't think it's been fair to this community, and these people out here, and everybody on television, and the whole cotton picking community, that we have pushed this thing through this fast and the way we've done it. It kind of almost stinks to me a little bit. But the thing is, we should have had this community, because this isn't just those 750 feet around we sent the little letters out to, which basically went to the cemetery, and you know, I didn't get one email from one of those residents in the cemetery, not one. So I think that was a waste of your time to send that one out, and then go the other way. And it's and this was brought up by one of the earlier speakers as well. You take the whole surrounding 750 feet and draw a circle around and see who really knew that this was going to happen. Hardly anybody. In fact, if it didn't get in the newspapers, you know, Barbara got called over and Bob got called over, and it was too late for the other newspaper, because that decision wasn't even made until I was sitting there and said, hey, wait a minute, the people in this community haven't had a chance to even understand or hear this. And thank goodness the mayor got on the phone. He called a couple of people and they come over and we got a little bit of information out there, and from that we have this many people. Now, if we would have had some public hearings like they should have been done, if you were doing this down in Vegas, believe me, you wouldn't have done it this way. There's about 9 reports you have to go through, including some public hearings. We had no public hearings other than those people that live in the cemetery and, you know, the people around us. And if you look at the residential, there's only about 2 or 4 houses that fall into that 750. So that one concerns me. The other thing that hasn't really been talked about is the going up the grade, going eastbound. Okay, you're gonna be coming out of there and you got a short distance, you're gonna have to wait for the light to get out, and then you're gonna have to wait for the light to get up, to go up the off-ramp or the on-ramp. That on-ramp is steep. And I know, and everybody else seems to know, that semis don't like to go up big trucks as they're leaving and having to merge in as they're leaving wherever they've been, and merging in, because the problem is by the time you get to the top of that hill, if they're metal to the pedal and they don't have anything in their truck, they might be able to get up to 25 miles an hour. So what's going to happen now? It happens all the time when I go up to St. George or I go any place. Almost always you're behind at least one truck and you're waiting, going up to there, and then there's traffic, oncoming traffic going 75 miles an hour or 80 miles an hour as they usually go, or maybe 90 miles an hour, merging with this traffic doing 25. And you know, everybody can kind of live with that when it's one truck, because you can kind of dart around them or whatever. But when you start getting heavy truck traffic out of there, I think it's going to be I think they're really a dangerous situation. So I don't think that if you look at the infrastructure around it, you can't mitigate those things. You're not going to change that ramp. You're not going to change the angle of it or how long it is. You're not going to be able to do anything about the overpass, the bridge. You're still going to have, if you get 2 semis going side by side, say one wants to go west and one's going to end up going east, and they're coming up there, or they got one coming down, one going up, it's going to be ugly. So, you know, spot zoning has become a hot issue, and one of the real problems with spot zoning is that if there's an appearance that the zoning change you're making benefits, say, one individual or maybe a small group of individuals as opposed to the community. And since this community really hasn't had a chance, I'm suggesting at this point in time that I know what I'm going to do at this point in time. I'm going to vote against it. I'm going to tell you that right now. But what I'm going to really recommend is that if we don't want to leave it at that point, that you may want to consider trying to work with staff and work with the city and try to get more public input, and we'll see how the public really feels about it. A lot of people here today, I heard 2 that said they thought it was a good idea. I saw another 15. I saw one of our major business people in this entire community, which is another casino organization that has deep concerns about it. And they have deep concerns because they want to make this into a really first-class community, and they don't think that that's an appropriate place to put it. And I think that he very graciously told us how he felt about it without, you know, making a big issue of it, but it was pretty plain how he felt about it as well. So, anyway, I've got a whole list of things here we can talk